Hello, Zion here. Now, I'm one of those people who love dinosaurs, and I'm someone who loves art and Pokemon as well. Now, seeing dinosaurs in Pokemon is like seeing a dog in a dog park, somewhat expected. But Pokemon does have their own version of our real-world dinosaurs, fossil Pokemon. Fossil Pokemon are a category of Pokemon species revived from, well, a fossil. Life from ancient times brought to ours. But because the process isn't entirely perfected, they come out incomplete, their bodies fusing with the stone that once held the genetic essence. So join me today as in this video I go over some fossil Pokemon I came up for my Fakemon region. Among the fossil Pokemon Game Freak has made, not one has taken inspiration from one of the most popular giant dinosaur species, ankylosaurids. Now, of course, by the name you can guess what the icon of the species is, the ankylosaur. However, there are countless species in this genus, each one a little different than the other. And for Stratapelta, I chose to draw inspiration from the Nodosaurus, mostly because of the rather plain look and armor compared to other ankylosaurids. Fossils can be found within the different sedimentary layers of the Earth. These individual layers are called strata. They mark the many, many years of shifting earth and erosion that form the ground we stand on today. These strata can be most easily seen in arid and rocky areas. One notable example is the Grand Canyon. Anyways, Stratapelta was a pretty solid design with its first take. Cute and round, but its posing made it hard to read and it didn't feel as rock solid as I had wanted it to be. So, with my latest take, I opted to make it stand, donning a wide stance and a more angled pose to show off more of its shape and convey a bit more personality. Stratapelta, the Stratum Pokemon. This Pokemon was restored from a fossil. When in danger, it will curl up to protect its vulnerable body parts and use its tail to ward off attackers. Its hard shell is made purely of stone, although in ancient times that was unlikely the case. Next, we have Hoodonta, a huge hoodoo dinosaur. Before I go into Hoodonta's design, I should explain what a hoodoo is. Hoodoos, also known as tent rocks, hairy chimneys, or earth pyramids, are rocky formations often found in dry, arid areas. They are formed by many factors like rainfall, freezing, and wind in these dry areas that cause erosion to shape the hoodoos as we know them. As for the dinosaur-shaped question, Hoodonta is based more off of a Sauropelta, an ankylosaurid that had spikes on its shoulders. Another inspiration Hoodonta draws from is a construction worker, kinda like Hermicone from my crab Fakemon video, hence the helmet-like shell on its head. Hoodonta's design has changed quite a bit from its first design. It was quite stocky and squat, not a bad design by any means, but I wanted to draw a bit more from its real-world counterpart to sort of reflect how paleontological. While I like the idea and execution of it, I feel it could probably be a bit rockier, but let me know what you think. Hoodonta, the tent rock Pokemon. Hoodonta once lived together in large herds with other Pokemon, protecting their own young and those of others. Though often docile, Hoodonta will charge when they feel threatened, swinging their strong spikes. Hey! Just jumping in here to say thank you for watching this video. I love making these videos and their contents, and I hope you enjoy them too. If you want to be able to catch the next video I drop, feel free to subscribe. That way you won't miss the next thing I make. And I'm so close to 100, so help me reach this milestone. Anywho, back to the video. Birds, theropods, are quite the diverse group, filling different niches and having different builds. Among these is the Dryptosaurus, a quote-unquote small tyrannid known for its relatively large claws. Dating back to the late Cretaceous, the Dryptosaurus's fossil record is relatively scarce, the only true fossils being of its lower jaw, its leg, and parts of its spine. Anyways, when finding inspiration for a fossil Pokemon, I like the concept of a fossil Pokemon's missing biology filling in with stone. So, inspired by this particular artwork, I decided a red granite cranium would be nice for Cranite, a little baby dinosaur. which is important because I'd actually designed Cranite's evolution first. But before that, Cranite, the Phanerite Pokemon. This Pokemon was restored from a fossil. Cranite's skull is made of extremely thick stone, capable of withstanding heavy blows as it charges recklessly at its foes. Cranite are very temperamental, bashing and clawing at anything that makes it frustrated. Next we have Calclash. Calclash is a full-grown Dryptosaurus, bearing the sharp claws and tearing teeth it's believed to have had. Based mostly off of this depiction of Dryptosaurus, Calclash's noggin is a heap of granite, inspired not just by the coloration, but also the red stone known as granite. As a tyrannosaurid, it likely had feathers on its back, and the backbone-like ridges call back to the first fossil Dryptosaurus that was found, its spine. I designed Calclash to be fierce and menacing, with stark contrast to Hoodonta's calmer, more grounded demeanor. That way, I imagine them to have a distinct rivalry, sort of like what Rampardos and Bastiodon are supposed to be. Calclash, the Phanerite Pokemon. Calclash are ferocious Pokemon. Bearing sharp fangs and claws, they tear anything they can get their jaws on to shreds. Calclash are believed to have been related to Tyrantrum, but were not nearly as ferocious. Instead, they were believed to be cunning and agile. Giant lizards aren't the only thing we've found in fossils. Countless plants and bugs have been found as well. But one kind of fossil that has baffled many is amber. Amber isn't like most fossils, where bones get filled in with minerals as they get buried into the ground. Instead, it is tree resin that is solidified prior to being buried and thus fossilized. Sometimes inside of an amber fossil is a bug. These are often sold as little novelties or trinkets due to the fact that they are relatively easy to find or replicate. Anyways, I thought of a funnily creepy design, Amberachnid, an amber-encased spider. Or rather, it would be if not for the revivification process turning its abdomen into an amber chunk full of webs. While finding webs intact inside of an amber is rare, it isn't impossible, so I took that idea and ran with it, using multiple layers to convey the depth of the resin fossil that its body is encased in. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. Still bug-like, but not overly creepy. Amberachnid, the Resinite Pokemon. Found in a chunk of ancient tree resin, Amberachnid were once powerful hunters, spinning webs to catch their prey. It spits clumps of resin at its foes, slowing them down and rendering them vulnerable to its attacks. Okay, that'll do it for this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts about these designs. Any that you like, or are there a few that could use some work in your opinion? Alright, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Woo!